everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Ansley and today I have a reading vlog for you today. Today I'm going to be reading the book Pet Sematary by Stephen King. I actually already read this book, so let's go back to about a week ago when I started it. Okay. Hello everyone. Welcome to my Pet Sematary reading vlog. I just read, I listened and followed along. I've read what has it been, 45 minutes? I've read to page 20 or 19, chapter 7. Stephen King's chapters are always just a number and then they start on the page. Also, my copy of this book has this weird green line through it and it's like glue or something. I'm not sure, but that's kind of weird. So basically I've only read 20 pages of this. I'm liking it so far. I'm really liking the audiobook with Michael C. Hall. I love Michael C. Hall and his voice and everything about him. So I'm really liking the audiobook so far. This book is only 300 and it's 390 something pages, almost 400 pages. I think I'm gonna really try to get into this tonight because clearly I didn't read that much. But so far I'm sure the main part of this story, there's this pet cemetery. Also on the cover of this book it's cemetery with an S, and then in the summary or the synopsis it's cemetery with a C. And I guess I don't know. I was trying to figure out when I was looking at this book if it was a C or an S, and I guess it doesn't matter. I guess I'm just thinking way too much into it. But basically the first 20 pages we get introduced to our main characters, Lewis and his wife Rachel, I believe, and they're moving to this town in Maine because Lewis got a job at the university to teach. So they're moving to this house and with their kids, and there's this old guy that comes over to help them move their boxes, and he's basically just tells them about the road in front of their house is really busy, and this company has giant semi trucks, and the trucks just go through the road at all hours of the day, and it's a really just busy road. But yeah, I'm liking the writing style so far. And then they have kids. They have a daughter and a son named Ellie and Gage, which are really cute names, actually. And then they have a cat. Ellie has a cat named Winston Churchill. But yeah, that's basically where we are right now. And then the daughter Ellie is pointing out this path across the road. She's like, what's down that path? And then the old man is Judd. I'm horrible with these names. His name is Judd Crandall, and he's 83 years old, and they keep talking about how he looks younger than 83, but he's basically telling the daughter, he's like, oh, I'll tell you about what's down that path sometime. Very ominous, very weird, creepy, but the pet cemetery is down that path, so yeah. It's not really creepy so far. I'm barely into the story right now, but the audiobook is 15 hours, or I have 15 hours left. So I'm gonna try to read a couple hours of this tonight and get around page like 100. We'll see. But the audiobook narration has been really good so far. So yeah, I'm gonna go, and hopefully I'll read more tonight. Hello everyone, I thought I would update you. It is the next day. I'm currently on page 40, so I've read 20 more pages. I read them at school today, so I didn't film anything. But so far I like it. I only have 12 hours left on my audiobook, which feels weird. Like, I feel like this story, I feel like it should be a lot longer, but it was only 15 hours. But I'm gonna read for a while. Right now, I'm gonna try to get like a big chunk of this done. Hopefully, like at least page 100, we'll see. But yeah, basically, not much has happened. One big thing was Judd Crandall, the next door neighbor, like came over and he took Lewis and his wife and his kids to the pet cemetery to like see it because his daughter was curious about it. And then his daughter got really curious about like death and like how it worked, so he explained it to her. And then his wife got really mad because he was like, our 5-year-old daughter does not need to be hearing this. But yeah, so far it's good. I think it's gonna get creepy. Like, I feel like it's gonna get creepy soon. So I'm gonna go read a bunch. So it's the next morning. I haven't really updated much. I'm basically on, actually, okay, so I didn't have school today. Today is a Wednesday. I didn't have school today because it snowed last night, which is crazy because I live in North Carolina and it does not really snow in North Carolina ever. But it snowed last night and they canceled school. So I'm trying to I have 11 hours left of my audiobook for this. I'm trying to get a lot done today, like maybe like 2-3 hours of this done today. I'm only on page 60, so I'm not like that far in. I'd like to get halfway through, maybe, we'll see. But yeah, not much. I think they're still like setting up the story. But something did happen. I don't think I explained Lewis's job very well. Because I also just realized I thought he was a teacher at the university, but he's a doctor, and basically he's like the head doctor at the infirmary for this university. So he's basically like the school nurse for this college. And someone comes in on his first day, comes into the infirmary, and they're seriously injured, and they start talking about the pet cemetery. So he's like, did I hear that right? Like, am I going crazy? What's going on with that? So yeah, that was the last thing I read. I'm gonna try to get like halfway through this right now. We'll see. Hello everyone. It's like, how many days later, I'm not sure. I just thought I would jump in here because I was reading Pet Sematary at school today, and I got around page like 130, 135, and it's getting crazy. Like, I feel like I'm currently on page 170. I was reading at school and my headphones died, so I had to stop. But this stuff, it's getting crazy, and I feel like the story is like starting. I feel like the story's like, I feel like the first 130 pages were just build up. But yeah, the story's getting crazy, and I'm gonna see how much I can read tonight. I have about 7 hours left on my audiobook, so we'll see. Good morning, everyone. It is the next morning. That's why I look kind of ridiculous right now. I thought I would update y'all a little bit on where I am in the book. Let me get it out. So last time I updated y'all, I was talking about how the story is like really starting to pick up, and currently I'm on page 178, 179, and ever since page like 130, 135, the story's really started to pick up, and I feel like we're getting into the actual story. I'm gonna try to tell you what happens, like, non-spoilery though. Basically, like, we're like following the dad for a while because his family and kids, they go to the mom's or the wife's family's house for Thanksgiving. So Lewis is just like kind of by himself for a while, and something happens, and you basically see like his first experience using the pet cemetery, like using the pet cemetery to bring something back to life, which is what the pet cemetery does. And his neighbor, I'm just gonna say, it's this cat on the front, Church. Winston Churchill is the cat's name, and they call him Church. And he gets run down by this giant truck that like goes across the road, he gets hit. So they bury him in the pet cemetery, and he comes back, and he looks all scary, as you can see. He looks really scary on there. But yeah, that's basically where we are. I feel like I know what's gonna happen, and I think I know what's gonna happen because I've seen videos about the movie. So I think I know what's gonna happen. I think it's gonna happen soon, but I haven't read it yet. So it's something to do with the kids. I know something's gonna happen with the kids, and I'm just waiting for it. But yeah, I'm 100 and almost 80 pages in, and I'm going to Barnes today for like an hour and a half just to like kill some time. So I'm going to see if I can read a lot. Maybe should I get to page 200? We'll see. But also I wanted to show you guys this. I was on Pinterest the other day, and I see this picture of this Pet Cemetery bookmark, and I'm like, that is so cute. And then I'm like, don't I have that? And I literally have it. Like, this is the bookmark. It is so cute. It says Pet Cemetery on it. That is so, so cute. And it fits perfectly in my book. Hello everyone. Wow, the sun is crazy right now. So I just got out of the bookstore. I read to page 204. So I'm officially over halfway, and I'm really enjoying it. Like, I'm really enjoying it. Basically, to like not really spoil anything, but the family, like I said, that they come back from like their vacation when Lewis buried the cat, and someone close to the family dies, like passes away, so they have to go to her funeral. And it's basically the past like 15-20 pages have just been about like grief and like how long it takes to get over a death, and like not even like in your family, but just like death in general. And it's been really, really good. I think that because I think I know, like, I have that much left. I have half of it left, but it's getting really good. I'm really liking it. I think something big is about to happen, so I'm kind of scared. But I have a meeting, so I'm going to stop reading and go to that. And then tonight, when I get home, I'm going to try to read some more of this. Hello, everyone. Ignore the box in the back. That was for packages. I'm back at Barnes. It's Sunday now. It's like a day later or something. I'm back at Barnes. Today's the last day of their 50% off hardcover sale, and I do have a gift card left, so I might take advantage of that. We'll see. But it's Sunday. I'm still 204 pages into Pet Sematary. I'm going to try to get a lot done today. I have 5 hours left, so I'm going to try to get a lot done, because I prefer to finish it like in the beginning of this week. But yeah, last scene I read, they were at the funeral with the daughter, and she was asking about like death and stuff. Also, I forgot to mention this at the beginning of the book, but there's a scene at the beginning of the book where they're talking about the pet cemetery, and they're talking about a dog, which I think was buried there. I'm not sure. But they're talking about this dog, and they were like, yeah, this dog went rabid. He didn't have his rabies shots, and he killed like 4 people. And in my mind, I'm like, are they talking about Cujo? Like, I'm like 99% sure they're talking about Cujo. Maybe I'll have to look that up, but I'm gonna go read. Hello everyone. So, okay, I know the lighting is horrible. I'll be really quick, but I am home now. I read about 60 pages in the Barnes & Noble. I'm on page 261, chapter 40. Okay, the second I sat down to read in Barnes & Noble, the thing that I thought was gonna happen, happened. It was literally the first line of the next chapter, and I just didn't realize. And it's been kind of crazy. Like, there's like a death of one of the characters, and you basically just like start thinking about the pet cemetery, because it's like if you bury something in the pet cemetery, it comes back, which is like the whole thing. It comes back, but it's like changed kind of. So the main characters are like thinking like, should we bury this person in the pet cemetery? And I'm assuming that he does, just from my previous knowledge of this book. But I don't know, he hasn't yet so far. We've basically just been like through grief and like him thinking about it and his thought process and like what could happen, what could not happen, and all that stuff. But yeah, maybe I'll read some more tonight. I have like 110 pages left, so not much, but we will see. I just finished the book. Like 5 seconds ago, I just finished Pet Sematary. I'm gonna have to like process my thoughts on this. I just need to think about it and review it later. It was so good. Hello everyone. You have now made it to the end of the video. If you're still here, I love you so much. We've got a lot to talk about with this book, a lot to talk about. I actually made a little piece of paper. This paper has everything that I want to touch on in my review, because I have a lot of thoughts. This is what it looks like. Okay, so first of all, I'm giving this a rating of, I'm between 4.5 stars and 4.75. I think I might just keep it at 4.5 stars. I really did enjoy this book. I did listen to it on audiobook, and I feel like listening to books on audiobook, like on Audible, can sometimes make me feel disconnected to a book or like not as invested as I usually would be, which it was the case. I did feel a little disconnected, but with this book in general, I don't think I would have enjoyed it as much if I didn't have it on audiobook. Also, my copy of this book is like messed up. Like there's this like green line on like the first 50 pages, and some of the words would be like not fully spelled out. So I think something just happened with this book and it got a little messed up. But listening to the audiobook, I did feel a little disconnected, but I also remember thinking in the beginning of this book, I was like 80-90 pages in, and I sat back and I thought, wow, like this main character really loves his kids. Like I can tell how much Lewis Creed loves his children. And I think that's just the writing. Like the writing was just so good, and it made you like understand the characters so well. I could really feel like I could tell how close this family was, I feel like. Also, I loved the Cujo and Salem's Lot references. There was references to Cujo, and then in the end, when the wife is driving back and forth, she sees a sign for Jerusalem's Lot. And I think that's so cool. I love like finding the little Easter eggs within Stephen King books. I will say there was something in the introduction, Stephen King saying that this is his most terrifying novel of all time. Sure everyone's heard that. It wasn't as much terrifying for me as it was sad. Like there was a lot of grief in this book. It dealt with a lot of grief. It was sad. Like it was really sad. I don't know. I'm sure when this book came out, this came out in 1983, I believe. I'm sure when it came out, it was very, very scary for people. But personally, I think the movie was a lot more scary. But I did watch the movie. I only watched the movie The Pet Sematary from 1989, the original one. There's one from 1989, and then there's a sequel to that one. And then there's a new one that just came out in 2019. And then there's a TV show. I'm sure that I will get to watching them eventually, but I kind of just wanted to watch the first one because Stephen King actually wrote the original Pet Sematary movie, like he wrote the screenplay, which I didn't realize until I watched the movie. I thought that was really cool. I really did like the movie. I don't think I would have liked the movie as much if I didn't read the book. I think if I didn't read the book, the movie would have just been, it just wouldn't have been as good for me. But I did read it, and I don't know, like, this book, something I wrote on my piece of paper is that it's dense in a good way, and I feel like a lot of Stephen King's books are dense in a good way, to where, like, there's a lot of information in this book, there's a lot of story here, and sometimes I really like that, like, being able to just dive into this story, and with that, like, with this, there was a lot to dive into, which I did enjoy. But I also wrote that the story didn't begin until 130 pages in, which for me, it was just like I was 130 pages in and then it started to get interesting. But after the 130 page mark, it got really, really interesting and like everything started to happen. But I did fear when I started reading this book because I love Stephen King so much. He's one of my favorite authors. And I was nervous that this was going to be a situation where like I love the show, but I just don't like this episode. You know, like I love the author, I just don't like this book. And I feel like that might just be like the story, because I know the stories of most of his books. I feel like a lot of people do because they're really famous. I knew the story partially of this book, and it just wasn't like my favorite out of all like 70 of his books. Is this my favorite Stephen King book I've ever read? No. But is it definitely in my top 10? Yes. And I know that like 4.5 seems really high, but I really, really liked this book, and I'm continuing to like think about it. Like I'm still thinking about this book and I'm thinking about the movie, and I think that it's just a really well told story. It's a very different story. It's very famous. A lot of people know about this book. And I really, really enjoyed it. And I think that I'm gonna give it 4.5 stars. I don't know. I really did like it. I don't know how to like put it into words, but this book was very, very good. I'm gonna give it 4.5 stars. I hope you enjoyed this week's video. I tried to make this vlog like non-spoiler the best I could, but comment down below if you have an opinion on if spoiler vlogs are better or if non-spoiler vlogs are better, because it's really hard to like read a book and talk about it and not spoil it. But if you have an opinion on that, let me know. But I will see you guys next week. I gotta go read, so bye. One thing I do want to add about Pet Sematary is if you read this book and like this book, I think you should read 1922 by Stephen King and vice versa. This was the first book I read by myself. It's so short, and in my opinion, this whole thing is in my opinion, I think that the stories are kind of similar. This book was just really good. I don't know how to explain it, but I think if you read them both, you'll see why they're so similar. But this book was really short. It was very sharp. The back says it's like, I don't know. I really, really enjoyed this book, 1922. And I think that if you don't know if you'll like Pet Sematary, or you just want to read something short by Stephen King, I think you should read 1922, but I think if you like either of these books, you will like the other. Also, this movie reminded me kind of the Pet Sematary movie. But yeah, if you've read both of these books, please comment and tell me that you understand what I'm saying. But I think if you like this book, you like this one. If you like this one, you like this one.